Today we're going to get all this fan shroud and stuff. We're going to put a new fan shroud here. We're going to put the the original condenser fan back here. This was the plug to the condenser fan was some kind of rigged up in there, so we're going to fix all that. Alright, so let me give you a tip. This is the plug for the fan, but we don't know which one is the negative and which one is the positive. So what you need is one of these little simple $7 devices from Harbor Freight that looks like a test lead or a test probe, but it actually is not. You hook it to the battery, positive and negative, and if you look, when you push it on the negative, the light will turn green. I don't know if you can see that. See the light turning green? If you put it on the positive, it turns red. So you can look anywhere on the car. So if I touch here, see how it turns green? That goes to ground. Okay? So if I go over to this probe here and I touch one of these, that's the ground. This one is nothing because it's not hot yet. It only gets hot after the PCM sends a signal that it's ready to turn the fan on. So we know that is the ground. So then I look at my fan here, and I got to see which way the fan is going to turn to blow air this way. And I've determined that this is going to be the ground. So what I did was I hooked up these retractable test leads to that, and once I touch this to there, it clearly blows the fan this way, so I know I got everything connected correctly. Alright, I've recreated this little pigtail. That's my power. Just marked it with a little red thing. Did all the heat shrink and ready to go. I'll put some dielectric grease in there for years of trouble-free service. This fan is actually an aftermarket fan made by Dorman. So somebody replaced this before, which is good. Looks fairly new. Didn't have to buy that. I did have to buy a new fan shroud because the other fan shroud just kind of deteriorated. This one was only $17 on Amazon. Tong Yang, but it looks like it does say that it was made in Taiwan, and the Taiwanese make good tools, so maybe it's okay. It's a piece of plastic. How can they go wrong? Alright, here's the tip. You put the electric one in first because that little bolt right there won't clear this. So you slide it down right here and move it to the right. And then put this one on. Okay, these went in good. They're all buckled up. Just going to connect the pigtail there and we should be in good shape. I do need to order a new sticker that has the fan fan belt routing diagram in case you get, side of the road at night. You'll know how to do it. It's much easier to have a diagram right there. The original one had that. Alright, it's all hooked back up, and this is how you can tell if you've got it wired up. You unplug your temperature sending unit and the fan should come on. Watch this. So that tells me it works perfect. Alright, next I got to change these sway bar bushings. You can see this one's completely herniated out. I'm going to change these end links here too. But at AutoZone they want to know the size of this, so I put a caliper on it and it's basically 1.02 inches. So, and in millimeters it is, what is that? 26.1 or 0.2. So that'll tell us what type of bushing to get. Alright, to change the spark plugs, you got to take 4 bolts like this out of here. This is the coil pack. And then you need to remove this throttle assembly, cable assembly. You're going to take a 10 millimeter bolt out right there and one out right there. And this will just lift up and unhook so you can get the coil pack out. Alright, well, I got the coil pack out, and this is what the underside looks like. See, the boots, spark plug boots, are tied to the coil. It's one big unit here. And if you see underneath there, man, these spark plugs are very rusted. These are old plugs. I wonder if they've ever been changed. It's got 170,000 miles. So who knows? Alright, now if you look here, if you look in the mirror, you'll see a little red, that little red piece got to pull up so we can unplug this coil, because I'm going to clean everything up. Alright, this coil pack is good. You don't see anything melted underneath here. That little rubber substance in there would be melted. The boots look good. I'm going to put some dielectric grease in there. Connector looks good. I don't know if this is the original one or not. It's got a part number on it. That might be a Jeep or a Chrysler number, who knows. And there's the spark plugs in all of their glory and rust. So I'm going to spray some PB Blaster down up in there and take them out, see what they look like. Very interesting find. These are the plugs that were in it. They're all in really good shape, very little worn, but the gap is way off. The gap on the original one should be 0.035, which I've already gapped this one, and these are gapped at 0.045 or above, and you can really see that, like, this one's been bent up. So these spark plug original ones are incorrectly gapped. I'm not sure if the Autolite 985 is even the right plug for that, but I went back with the original Champion RC12 ECC. So I'm not going with any crazy iridium plugs. This is the factory plug, so that's what we're going to go with. It's crazy. Alright, as you see, we got all the new plugs installed. Time to put the coil pack back on. One of the next things, maybe in another episode, maybe not on this one, I still get some brake fade. Everything in the front's new for the brakes. So I'll pull this off the back, and you can see all the caked buildup right here around the wheel cylinder. So this thing's been leaking for a long time. So these wheel cylinders need to be replaced. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a full brake job on the back, on this side, and on the other side. And while I'm at it, I'm going to change these rear sway bar bushings. Alright, I've cleaned most of the stuff off with brake cleaner, but I'm going to have to take this completely apart, clean it. I bought all new springs and stuff too, so. Man, these are just in. These things have been leaking forever. Look at all that crud up in there. Jeez. Man. I don't know if that's the original, but definitely leaking. I hope it's not the axle seal leaking. I don't think it is. Nasty. Alright, I got it all cleaned up. Let's see if I can get it to go together. Got the new shoes and a box full of springs. Put this new wheel cylinder on. AutoZone, it's the same on both sides. Only $12. That's the great thing about these Jeeps. Everything's cheap. To put the wheel cylinder on, there's just two 10mm bolts that go right there on each side. So you just put them through and screw them into the back of that. Now I'm not going to hook, this is the brake line, I'm not going to hook that up yet. I'm going to flush the brake lines out, so that's just going to stay there. Well, that's it all back together. Maybe I'll do a how-to on the other side. This was a pain.